Hello, loves. Dark Side back again with another Dark Side Goes to Jail episode. This is going to be episode 6. Okay, and I'm going to pick up a little bit after where I left off. And that guy had left the pod. The guy that I had the altercation with, he was wheeled out of the pod. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, just to like maybe a week or two. In that week or two that I'm talking about, my bunkie that was here visiting from DOC, trying to get his new case run concurrent with his old one. He got it. They granted it to him. So he went back to DOC. I've had a couple people in and out of my pod. One guy stayed a couple days. Another guy was sentenced to 3 days in jail. Another guy was there like one night, and then he left and bonded out. Okay. So for the most part, I was by myself, though. Okay, for like that week and a half to 2 weeks. I think like 2.5 weeks, whatever it was. And then one night, around like 1 or 2 in the morning, they come, they knock on my cell, they pop it, I hear it open up, and they come and they call my name. And the guard comes up and wakes me up and like hits my bunk, and he's like, "You got to go down to intake." So I thought maybe somebody bonded me out. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm out of here. Fuck yeah. Come to find out, they had hit me with a new charge. A warrant came through on another charge that they were trying to find probable cause for, and they found probable cause for it. They issued a warrant for my arrest even though I was already in jail. So I was now being charged with this other crime. Okay, I had to go to first appearance the following morning. The judge raised all my bonds to $50,000. So now I had a $50,000 bond before I could even get out of jail. So that's like more than 3 times the amount of what it was originally, you know? So I'm like, fuck, dude. So I talked to my parents that later on that morning, and I told them what happened, and then my father's like, well, we're not going to be able to bond you out now. He's like, we don't have that, you know. He's like, let me go and see if I could talk to. I have a friend that's a lawyer. My father had a friend that was an attorney, so he went and he talked to him, and the guy told my father he'll take the case, and he'll try and see what magic he can work with, whatever he can do. So meanwhile, I had spoke to my lawyer a couple times. I'd met him in the private booth upstairs. And when you're talking with your lawyer, they're not allowed to record it, nothing like that. No legal mail is allowed to be looked at by them, nothing like that. The jail can't check any of that stuff. They can't record any conversations you have with your lawyer. It's all confidential shit, okay? They can't do nothing with that. It's 100% confidential. They're not allowed to know anything like that, okay? So my lawyer had gone to what's called my arraignment, which was my first court date. And at your arraignment, basically all you do is you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest. Pleading no contest is the same as pleading guilty. You're just telling them, I don't want to argue with you, I'm guilty. That's basically all it is. Okay. So, my lawyer came to me and he told me, he's like, look, right now they're trying to give you a plea deal of 5 years. You don't ever want to take your first plea deal because most likely they're probably going to come down after that, and they're probably going to try and give you something a little bit lower. But then there's some people that are in a hurry to get to prison. They want to get their time started. So, but in this time, jail had started to take its toll on me. I was getting very, very agitated, bored. I wanted to get the hell out of there. I just couldn't sit still. Every single day, it was driving me crazy. You can't tell what time it is. You can't tell if it's day or night. It was just really getting to me. Okay, I was trying to socialize more with people, playing cards. I started playing poker here and they're just like $1 game type deal because we would throw a buy-in and we would do a little poker tournament. Nothing crazy. I wouldn't get too crazy with it. So one day the classification sergeant comes in and he offers us, he's like, listen, he's like, whoever has whatever charges, he's like, I can't do any red bands, this and that, but anybody that's interested, we are looking for people to go work in the kitchen, any volunteers. Some of the people that are working in the kitchen are leaving, so we need new people. So I was like thinking, I'm like, maybe I'll do that. I was like, maybe I'll go to work in the kitchen. It'll probably keep me busy. The only thing about that is I had to move to a new pod now and basically start all over. That was the best decision I ever made in the county jail. I had wound up getting put into cell 11, which was the big cell I was telling you guys about. So I had a huge ass cell. And then I finally go and I meet my new bunkie, because they moved me there probably about a day or two later. I think it was the next day, actually. And my bunkie was this older Italian dude from New Jersey. Cool as shit, really cool guy named Chris. We got along. Like, he was like, he reminded me of somebody that was in my family. Loudmouth, up north type guy. You know, I've been around people like him all my whole life. You know what I mean? So I was like, hell yeah, man, this guy's cool as fuck. We cooked together every night. We always made goulashes. We made, you know, dessert goulash type things. We made dessert pastry things. Every night we would do something different, you know. And we worked in the kitchen together. He was a cook, and I worked the dishes, and that's the way I liked it, man. I liked doing the dishes because it kept, you know, I was in my own little area over there, and I was in my own little world, and I loved it. It was sweet, you know. I'm playing cards here and there, hanging out with, and the vibe in F-Pod, in the trustee pod, is so chill because everybody there is short time. So most of the people there are sentenced, and they had to wear like orange jumpsuits, and those are the people that are sentenced to county time. Okay. Now, there was no, like, violent offenders there. There was no battery people there. There was no murder people. Nothing. It was all, like, you know, first-time non-violent offenders or non-violent offenders, people that had, like, drug charges. Maybe they got busted with dope, whatever it is. You know, non-violent offenses. So everybody was really laid back. Okay? Even my neighbor next door in cell 10, he was this little tiny-ass dude. He was, like, 5'1". Tiny little guy. Everybody called him Pikachu. Even he called himself Pikachu. He had like everything written on his slides to mark his property. Pika's house, Pika's slides, Pika's this, Pika's that. And he would yell out the door, Pikachu, every night. It was, he was a funny motherfucker, man. He kept time very interesting. He was a cool dude. I had a bunch of cool people in there I hung out with. So anyway, one day, out of the middle of nowhere, the classification sergeant comes and asks to speak to me. And he pulls me out of the pod. So I thought I was getting hit with new charges. So he brings me into a classroom and tells me to sit down. I said, what's the matter? They hit me with new charges? He's like, no, nothing like that. He's like, someone just wants to talk to you. So he closes the blinds. And I'm like, okay. And then in walks this guy that I know. He used to date my sister like 15, 18 years ago when I was a teenager. Like almost 20 years ago. And now he's the jail detective. This guy. He's like the head of investigations for the jail. Any drugs coming in or whatever, if he hears about it, he's the guy that does all the investigating. Basically, to make a long story short, he sits me down and he tells me, he's like this. He's like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm all right, man, you know, whatever. He's like, I see you going to prison soon. I said, yeah. I said, probably. He's like, how long they're trying to give you? I said, 5 years. And he's like, well, what if I can get you out in 1.5 to 2 years? And I'm like, what? How the hell are you going to do that, you know? And he's like, basically, he couldn't tell me exactly what it was about, but he had this prison officer, a female, that was bringing stuff into the jail. Cigarettes, dope, whatever. And supposedly distributing it in the jail. And he was trying to prove it that she was doing it. And he needed to put somebody in this one particular pod. And I had already been in my pod like maybe 3 weeks, almost a month. Okay, I had probably about like almost a little under 2 months left till I go get sentenced, a month and a half, something like that. Till I go get sentenced. I'm like, I don't want to change pods again, dude. I'm like, look, I'm not interested in doing this, bro. I said, I'm not a snitch. And he's like, no, I don't want you to snitch. I just want you to keep an eye out. And I'm like, that's a fucking snitch, dude. You know? So he hits me with that. And he's like, I could probably talk to the judge and this and that. So I go back to my cell. And I talk to my bunkie, Chris. I tell him what's going on. And he's like, dude, that's fucked up. He's like, but then again, he's like, you're not snitching on a co-defendant or a friend. He's like, they want you to snitch on the cop. I'm like, yeah, but still, bro. I'm not trying to go to prison as a fucking snitch. I don't know what it's like up there. I've never been to prison. You know, I don't know who'll know. He's like, yeah, that's true, you know. So, they call me out a few days later, maybe like, yeah, a few days later after that, and they want to talk to me about it again. They're like, you decide what you want to do? You're going to help us out? And I'm like, I still don't know, bro. I'm like, I really, it's not my thing to do something like this. You know, so I go and I talk to my bunkie again, and I'm like, they just pulled me out again and asked me again. He's like, man, they're going to get you fucking killed. I'm like, I know, dude. I told them, stop pulling me out, bro. This makes me look bad. So then probably about a week or two before I go get sentenced, I'm working in the kitchen, and the classification sergeant comes in, and he's like, dude, he's like, actually, no, it's probably about a month before I go get sentenced, because he said, he's like, he needs to know now, and this and that, and he wanted to put me in there, you know, like I said, to watch over the lady or whatever, the correction officer. He's like, he needs to know now because, you know, you're going to get sentenced soon. He needs to be able to tell the judge, look. And I said, tell him, look, man, I said, I can't do it, bro. I'm sorry. Tell him I can't help him out. I can't do it. sorry, but I can't do it, dude. I don't know what you want me to say. And he's like, that's it, huh? I said, yeah. So I don't feel comfortable doing it. You know what I mean? It's not who I am. And he's like, all right, I'll let him know. And the next thing you know, like a month later, I go to court and I get the whole 4 years. So my lawyer did get it worked down from 5 to 4. So I got 4 years. And during the next couple episodes, I'm going to be, telling you about, actually the next episode, I'm going to tell you what it's like from that day when you go to get sentenced from start to finish. When you get up, they come and wake you up at like 4 or 5 in the morning to get you ready, put the shackles on you, all that stuff, and get you sent over to the courthouse. From the start until the judge bangs his gavel and says, I now sentence you to 48 months in Department of Corrections. Boom, boom, boom. From that time when he slams that gavel down. Pretty fucking intense, man. My family was there. Everybody, it was nuts. So it was a pretty intense moment. But anyway, I'm going to talk about that next time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And I'll see you soon. Peace.